Welcome to the Dixie Doggers podcast. We're here to share knowledge and heritage. We hope y'all enjoy. For the best cut gear in the business, get with Dave Williams at Southern Cross Cut Gear. Make sure to use code Dixie Doggers for savings on all your Southern Cross cut gear. www.hogdoggear.com.
If you're buying or selling land, farms, or hunting property, these folks know land. Get with Phil Wilson from Georgia Land Brokerage, 678-791-3483.
777 Kennels, Advanced K9 Nutrition. Vertex K9 Essentials, Advanced K9 Nutrition, beneficial to all breeds. You can contact them at 979-206-3050. All right, we ready to record? All right, everybody, here we go. Another time, another podcast coming back to you. Here we are. We got a guest on with us tonight. I've never met this man. This is the first night I've talked to him, but I have seen him a little bit on social media and stuff. And like he's a pretty private kind of guy. He posts just enough to let you know that he's alive and that he's not a bot. So without further ado, this is Mr. Elek Tilton. Alec, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, sir. How about y'all?
Man, we're doing great.
Doing good.
Thank you for taking time out and jumping on with us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, man. Like you said, I know you this is kind of out of your comfort zone here, and you can feel free to interject at any time. If I talk over you, just talk back over me, interrupt me. I'm world famous for it.
Yes, sir. We'll be good.
All right. Well, man, let's start off with the usual. You know, who you are, where you're from. You can get into what type dogs you have, how you started running dogs, what got you started, whatever you want to go with. Take off with it.
All right. So my name's Elek Tilton. I'm from a little small town, Andrews, South Carolina. I've been born and raised here. I've been in dogs my whole life. Both sides of my grandparents, they both were dog men. On my mother's side, I grew up running fox dogs. We run gray fox and red fox in the wild, and it transferred over to field trial. And then on my dad's side, he was a deer hunter also, but he also hog hunted. And I guess that inspired me as a kid, to take after the hog hunting. And where it all started was my granddaddy's friend had 2 Airedale dogs. He called Jeff and Mutt. And it was before my time, but my whole life I heard stories about them dogs. So that kind of inspired me to go the route that I went in life. I ended up getting one when, I don't know, teenager years. And he was actually a half Airedale and half English coonhound. And man, he just turned into a superstar. And here I am 25 years later, doing the same thing, using the same breed of dog. I run an Airedale and hound cross, preferably English coonhound. Mm-hmm. I have crossed them over Julys, and they turned out well, but I'm kind of one of the people, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, so mm-hmm. I kind of tend to stick with the English and Airedale cross.
Now, is there something that sticks out more that works better with the English cross than, say, the July?
Not really. Not really at all. I mean, the ones I've crossed with the July, they've been a little more heads up type dog. Mm-hmm. But in all reality, I mean, one was just as good as the other. I mean, I bred them dogs. I started out with cur dogs, walking, just walk hunt dogs. Mm-hmm. Well, growing up from the deer hunting, fox hunting side of it, I knew that there had to be a dog in this world that would go hunt that I didn't have to walk, Mm-hmm. So I took that and, the hound side of it, I'm guessing, which about every Airedale I've ever owned, they would go hunt. I've never had a problem with one, not hunting. I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm sure the world's full of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been blessed on that side.
Yes.
But I really can't tell a whole lot of difference in between them, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
just like I said, you know, Daddy's always said that I spent my whole life, you know, chasing that one dog that we called Shaggy. You know what I mean? He was just, man, he was just, I mean, he was a perfect hog dog, you know? So here I am these years later, still trying to recreate him, you know?
So you've been breeding these dogs, you said, for about 25 years now?
Yeah. Yes, sir. It's been about 25 years.
Now, do you specifically do F1 crosses, or do you line breed those?
I've done both, and honestly, I've had good success with both. I got a F1 cross now that I'm starting, and but as soon as I'm waiting on a jip to come in heat, as soon as she comes in heat, that'll be another line breeding. Every so often, I'll step out and make an F1 cross, you know, to breed back in, you know, if everything works out with them, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, anytime that you work from a cross, you can breed yourself out real easy.
Yes, sir.
It don't take long.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have not crossed. Everything I've done has been you know, even the ones I've line bred, they have been a half English, half Airedale. I haven't crossed the ones I've crossed with the July. I have not crossed that back with anything else, you know. So so it's just been that English and Airedale line, you know, on that side of line breeding. You know, I've stepped out and tried different type hounds in it, but I've never mixed it into what I've originally had, you know.
I understand.
If that makes sense to you.
No, I fully understand. Yeah. We did very similar things over the years, and I had people that are like, well, you just got a bunch of mixed up dogs. Well, yes and no. I have a line of F1s here, then I have a separate line of F1s here, and a separate line over here. And I don't mix them up because, you know, I have in the past, and I was like, okay, I don't like this. So just like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, work it.
I had the reason why I tried the July part. I've run July dogs, like I said, my whole life. You know, we run walkers and Julys. And I had old Jip that, man, she was like 14 years old. Never been in heat in her life. And I turned her out in the dog yard. Never thought getting bred would be an issue. Well, all of a sudden she gets bred, and I don't remember how many pups she has, but she passes away the next day. So my wife raised them on a bottle, and you know, you get attached to them, you know. So I had these pups that I had to do something with. Well, deer hunting in this part of the world is dwindling down. You know, they're taking land day by day. Yeah. Well, I started them on hogs, and man, they barked so much to give me a headache. So I tried to deer hunt them, and everywhere I take them, they would get on a hog. So I said, well, I mean, obviously it's their fate to run a hog. Well, they made some of the best dogs. I'd say probably top 2 best dogs I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they were phenomenal. Now, they'd bark every breath, but I mean, I don't care how far he run or what it took. They had it, you know. And since, you know, they turned out the way they did, that's why I tried the July side of it, you know. Yeah. You know, because growing up with running dogs, you know, if you get one at a bay, you got something, you know, but not very many running dogs is going to stand there and bait something, you know. Yeah. Especially not something that's going to gut him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know. I was unfamiliar with, I can't say really unfamiliar, but like I wasn't versed in the running dogs as much as I even thought that I was until I got a few. And I was like, man, they don't work for what I want. Yes. And then I was like, okay, well, we'll cross them. And never did get it to really do what I want it to do. We had to wind up having a 1 litter out of some Krogan bred stuff over some cur dog, and we sent those pups to another guy. They did great for him, but they barked too much for me, like you said. And it seemed like everybody I knew, they had to run a whole pack of them.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and sir. I wound up with that Rick dog, and I've talked about him a lot in the past year. And shit, he went out there and started baying, and he stayed bayed for 30 minutes to an hour. I was like, well, damn, that, you know. And I was telling a couple other guys, they were like, and they were hunting. We were hunting with them, and they were like, dude, running dogs don't stay bayed by themselves. And that's when I knew I had something to work with there. You know, now that son bitch, he'll run anything, he'll trash, whatever. But if he's on a hog, he'll stay with him. And if he can get him stopped, he'll bay him. And
yes, sir.
But I don't run him with nothing else. I don't have a big pack of them. That's the only running dog that we got on the yard. And I don't know how it would work if I put him with a pack of dogs. But having one that'll bay by itself, I didn't know that was a really a rare, or more of a rare thing.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Quick thanks to the supporters of the Dixie Doggers podcast.
Light Hounds.
Southern Cross Cut Gear.
Phil Wilson with UC Hunting Properties.
Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company.
777 Kennels Advanced Canine Nutrition.
And the old Boars N Broads.
It is from what I've seen. I'm not saying they won't bay, they won't bay, because I mean, some will. I've seen some that would tree,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's different lines and they'll do different things, but most of the ones that I've seen didn't have the backbone to stand there with a bad hog, you know what I mean, and baying by itself, you know what I mean. Now you get 3 or 4 of them together, that's a different story. But
yeah,
and I don't have nothing against a barking dog. I mean, mine are totally silent. I kind of wish they would bark a little bit, you know what I mean. But,
yes, sir.
But I've never crossed the Airedale with any type of hound other than the July. That the last litter that I raised, it was half July. They barked when they were puppies, but by a year old, they were 100% silent.
Yeah.
But everything I've ever crossed with, it's always come silent. So
Same.
But I don't mind a dog barking. I don't.
Never had any Airedale stuff that barked on track.
Yeah, I don't.
Any full-blooded or crosses.
That's it. Yes, sir.
Not that I can remember in 20 years.
The only terriers that we ever had that bark would be the Jags, and it seemed like the Dixielands. Almost all of them let the 3 knocks on the door. Ow, ow, ow.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, like and that was some little Yog terriers we had. Like I said, they would strike, they would bark on strike, and they would not say nothing else. And
there was only a few of them, because some of them
never said nothing.
Yeah,
and like you said, it got to the point where I was like, man, I wish one of these some bitches would bark. We had one that was 7 years old. She got hurt, and Alec. And she started opening at 7 years old.
Yeah.
7. Dog never barked a day in her life, and started squealing. And let me tell you something, it changed everything for us. Man, when she would do that little squeal right there, there'd be a whole mob of dogs going to her. Bam, we'd get him stopped. I was like, damn. I said, but she couldn't stay with the dogs. So she would get it started. They would all get there, take it over, run it down, stop it. And poor old Alec was doing all the nose work, but
cripple Alec.
Yeah. But that little bit of barking really did help, though.
Yeah, sir. Well, I don't mind one barking. Like I said, man, I was raised with hounds. I'll always be a partial to a hound. I mean, they're nothing to me. The way I breed these dogs, I try to find the coldest nosed dog I can.
Yes, sir.
Everybody hunts different, and there's nothing wrong with the way that nobody hunts, But me personally, I prefer to find a big hog track, And now they're free casts. I mean, you turn them loose, they going hunting and they ain't coming back. You gonna have to get them from somewhere.
There you go.
But I hunt a lot for farmers too, And it's most people don't understand the fact that that hog was there at first dark, or maybe before dark. All they know is that hog track wasn't here yesterday when they were here. Now that hog track's there, so it's my job to produce a dog that'll take that track. Because if I don't turn that track into a hog, they gonna call somebody else.
Whether it's 4 hours or 12 hours.
That's exactly, so that's, and it took me a while to figure that part out. And mine ain't perfect, man. I mean, they're not perfect by no means. I mean, sometimes they'll take it, and sometimes, they don't. I mean, but that's what I breed for. Now, whether it happens or not,
How important is? Let me ask you just a few things on your dogs and your breedings. How important is the speed? You already said the nose. You got to try to find the coldest nose, and of course, that's what everybody goes for. But I'll be honest, I don't know that everybody needs a super cold nosed dog. Depending on how they hunt.
Yeah, it depends on where you're hunting.
That's right. If you've got 500 acres and you walking around, look, you don't need all that.
That's right. Yeah.
But anyway, the speed. Okay, let's go into the speed that your dog is pushing the track, not how fast it can run beside your truck. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then things like the feet and the coat, because with the Airedale, I'm assuming that you get, if you're going with a hound, you're going to get a good thick, maybe not like a woolly coat, but
all mine come wired here.
They do. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
All of them come wired here. They don't come as much hair as the Airedale.
Yes, but
man,
they got a good coat on them.
I go places and people call them labradoodles and poodles, and I mean, everybody sees them. So they come two colors. They either come black and tan or solid red. I got some young ones now, and they come black backed with white feet, and that's the first ones I've ever had that had any other color than black and tan or solid red.
Well, that's all. I was kind of curious about like with the black and tan and stuff. I had one red that was born in, I don't know how many years, 10 years of crossing, and I had one. I take it back. I had two reds. They were red with a dark red back, a liver back, and wildest colored dogs I ever seen. And then, but 90% of them were black and tan.
Yes, sir.
But what I always wanted to try to find one that looked like a, more of almost a brindle color with a saddleback on it. I said, man, I'd love to have one like that with a rough coat. And I don't give a shit what a dog looks like, just how it hunts. But if I could have a look, I like that look.
Yes, sir.
That thick coat. Now, you're in South Carolina, right?
Yes, sir. It's pretty hot.
Yeah. So I've had people ask me questions about our dogs and the thick coat, and they're like, that's going to heat stroke and kill them. I said, it ain't mine. It hadn't done it yet.
And all these years, man, I've never run but one hot. And it was stupidity that I run him hot. I let my ego get in the way.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Instead of catching him, I let my ego get in the way, and he run hard on me, but it never did cause him much problems. Some of them run hot and they never over it, but he got over it. But that's the only one I've ever had, and I hunt 365 days a year. I prefer to hunt during the summertime.
I do. I do too, for a big part of it. Different. And that end blowed up or something. Like, on the feet. Now you're talking. How's the feet on those dogs? Are they more up on top of the toes like cat footed?
They're big. I bet they got some big ass feet.
Yeah, they're cat footed type dogs, stand up on the toes.
Hey.
And I've never had a issue with one of those. We used to hunt that marsh a lot, and that marsh is rough on a dog. Them canes is cutting him, and he's running in that puff mud. I mean, it's hard on a dog. And to me, they were the strongest I had hunting that marsh. You could hunt them in the marsh all day and bring them home and hunt them that night. They just, and I'm assuming that comes from the terrier breed in them.
Yes.
It just, but
that's what we have come to the conclusion. even in the mountainside, in the rough hill country and the foothills, that the way that dog's built, man, he can just do it. Like it just works. That Airedale really, really seems to enhance the performance of whatever you're crossing to.
I think it does. I've heard a lot of people say Airedale ain't no good, this, that, the other. But like I said, I tried it, man, and I love it. I mean, as far as toughness, I mean, I hunt a lot, and I hunt one dog at a time a lot. For him to live at my house, he's got to do it by himself. My daddy told me my whole entire life, you can't call him a dog if he can't do it by himself.
Mm-hmm.
That might have not have meant nothing, but I took it to heart,
Yes.
And another reason why I run them by themselves, they can get pretty rough on you. They not if he's bad enough, he'll make them bay until I get there. But when I get there and I clap my hands, they going on him.
Well, there was one video I seen. I think it was on Instagram, and they was down in a bar ditch or something, or a ditch, little canal, and
yes,
there was, I think, 2 or 3 dogs down there baying.
It was 2 of them.
That hog was pretty bad, but that one old dog just said, "No, you don't, son." And as soon as he smacked him, I said, okay. No joke. I didn't know you. Like I said, I ain't talked to you or nothing. I said, that son bitch got some Airedale in him, son. I'm telling you. I said, I love it. And when I tried to try to catch up with it, because like I said, Nate don't tell me who I'm interviewing until right before we interview.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I'm trying to scramble. I'm like, well, a lot of times I know the people, or, not know them, but know who they are. But so I was like, I said, them dogs, man, I said, I just like the way that dog looks in the way they do. Now I know why I like them.
I told him when I messaged him, I said, let's get over here and talk some fuzzy dogs. I was like, hey, I already know. I need to hear it. I've seen it. I want to hear about them now.
Yeah. I can't, like I said, they not no better than nobody else's, man. They dogs, they do what I like. I love them,
That's all that matters.
But I've never owned one that didn't give me his heart and soul.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they give you 100% every time you go. They don't, and just like me and a buddy of mine, I hunt by myself a lot, and I got one buddy I hunt with, my youngin. Other than that, I mean, occasionally I'll step out and hunt with somebody, but most of the time it's just us 3 or me by myself.
Yes, sir.
And we've talked about it over the years. Even if one gets cut, 90% of the times you don't know it because they don't show it.
Nope.
Where most dogs get cut and they'll toe their leg, or most of the time they get cut and they leave a damn blood trail when they roll out on a nut, and then you try to stop him to get him back to see how bad he's actually cut.
That's exactly right. There's plenty of times you got to put your hands on them. You got to pat them down like a police officer and be like, look here, is this something cut anywhere? We had to do it a lot.
And with the fuzzy dogs, one thing that I've noticed for sure is you get to looking, you'll see them white spots where that son of a gun got shaved a few times.
Yeah, knock the hair out.
I wonder if that's saving licks or if
it's got to.
I think the hair has to. I mean, but you can at least tell he got hit, but it didn't break skin. But I've seen him shave close.
All them young terriers that we had, I literally. Yeah. Now, of course, I had a couple of slick coat that were damn good. I mean, find a dog as you want, but I always wanted the rougher coat, and that's what I bred for. And now we do. I went into the high terriers, and I worked with Josh Neff on the High Terrier Project USA that he's got going here, and we evaluate some dogs for him. And like, there's one out there at smooth coat, and he's hard as nails, but his brother's a rougher coated dog, and you cannot tell me that he ain't better. You just look at him like, that's a better dog. That's a better dog. And it's his damn brother. You know what I mean? But but like in the bushes, this is no joke. In the briars, that rough coated dog, he will hit them briars wide open. And that smooth coat dog, he'll hit them, but he wants to pick his little walking. He wants to try to take it a little easier if he can. I think that rough coat just does so much more.
I think it helps them a lot, man. We hunted it. We had a snowstorm come through a couple days ago. We hunted Sunday, and them hogs hadn't moved since the snow. We couldn't find a track nowhere, and we just pulled up and we turned them loose, and I turned one of the older dogs loose and the young dog puppy, and man, they stayed going. I bet an hour and a half. And anyway, the old dog, I told him, boy, I said we hunted a new spot. And I told that fella, I said, man, when he finds them, he's going to find a whole wad of them. Mm-hmm. And he went to baying, and, man, we didn't have to walk but 300 yards. And it was, I mean, I cussed that dog the whole way in there for finding them hogs. It was god awful. I said, damn, I wish you wouldn't even have found them.
Yes, sir.
But they don't pay them briars no attention. They'll rip right through them briars. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's, I guess the long hair has to help them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and there's, look, I know there's guys listening right now out there, guys and gals out there, they're like, well, I got a cur dog that's slick coated and he'll hit the briars, and I guarantee you they will. They'll do it. But I haven't seen, I don't know, I haven't seen any of these that you have to kind of coerce or you ain't got to let them do it 2 or 3 times or nothing. They just go. They want to go.
That's right.
They will snatch out of your hands to run through the bushes. I mean, the briars.
I got a old dog here now. He's full. I'm actually breeding him. I'm making another full. You know, every so often I got to breed a full litter. Mm-hmm. You know, so it takes some dogs, but to me it's worth it. You know, but I give him to my daddy when he was a pup, and man, Daddy carried him everywhere with him. I mean, he rode the forklift with him at work. I mean, he done everything. But every day when Daddy come home in the afternoon, I live quarter mile down the road. He'd stay out there in the yard with Daddy, but when Daddy opened that door to go inside, he'd haul ass to the house. Mm-hmm. For I don't know, he got about 8 months old, and Daddy finally said, I ain't coming to get him no more. He wants to stay at your house, let him stay up there. So I just left him loose as a yard dog. You know, I had no intentions to hunt him. I was just, you know, left him as a yard dog. Well, me and my youngin would leave and go hunting. We leave on the side by side or whatever. One morning we went to a cornfield, probably as the crow flies, 4 miles from my house. And we kicked out a couple of dogs there. We were sitting there, and my little boy said, God, dog, look how big that hog it is. A hog had crossed the road in between 2 cornfields. Well, that Airedale was stuck in his ass. And then my little boy started panicking. He said, Daddy Grizzly don't have a collar on. I said, son, if he knows how to get here, his ass knows how to get back home. But he got to the point. I mean, people be around there deer hunting, and they call me, say, hey man, your dog's got some hog bait over him. I said, well, I'm working or whatever. He'll come home directly. Mm-hmm. And he trained himself. So I got where I said I might as well hunt him, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, so I started hunting him, and he's actually the best full Airedale I've ever owned.
Hell yeah. I've just never had, I've only had one that would bay. And, you know, like you said, that most of the time they're going to get rough.
Yeah, they're going to get rough.
Most full Airedales are really rough. And I've had a couple I use just as straight catch dogs. Generally, we crossed them in, but like we had running catch dogs. But I've always wanted one that would bay or tree and do it, you know, and not be damn, I ain't gonna say suicidal, because most of the Airedales that I've been around, they know how to pick and choose. You know, they have a thought process. They think.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Like them little terriers and stuff that I've had, they don't think about nothing. They just go in there and hit that sun gun wide open. But like the Airedale, I crossed with the Yog Terrier, back with a Bull Terrier. We did that over the course of years, came out with our version of what the Hide Terrier is. And I had one named King, and they look more Airedale than anything. And I'm telling you, that dogs, like, they were just nothing but straight catch. We stapled him one time. He finally got killed. He was almost 10 years old. But I couldn't tell you how much he caught. You know what I mean? In the meantime, he just never did get hurt.
Well, that's mine. I mean, people, you know, see him all the time, and they see some of the hogs I catch with them, and they say, And I tell him, I said, man, they knock on. I don't want to jinx myself. You know how stuff will backfire.
Yes, sir.
But
Yeah.
but man, they don't never get cut. But they smart. Just like that video I posted the other day. I had to holler at him twice before he caught him. But when that hog turned his head, he
turned
nailed
his head.
You know,
as soon as I seen that, I said, look at this son of a bitch here.
We caught a big bull hog, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. I think he weighed like 348 or something. And man, he had like 4.5 inch teeth or whatever. And I carried them 2 fuzzy dogs and put on him. And when they found him, they barked about twice and they caught him. And he threw them and he made about 100 yards. And when they smoked him that time, they held him. You know what I mean? And I had 2 buddies of mine with me that night, and I we sent them bulldogs, but I hadn't had a bulldog in 2 years. I mean, it's not because I hadn't wanted one; it's because I hadn't found one to work for me. you know.
Yes.
But the hunting part ain't slowed down. You know, I just pop my hands and they'll catch him.
Good bulldogs are, and everybody's got their idea of what a good bulldog is.
Yes, sir.
Or a good catch dog, whatever you want to say. It's, I figure yours is probably more along the lines of what mine and quite a few other guys is. You know, like it can't just go in there and smack a hog in the face. He's got to do a lot of other stuff.
That's right.
He's got to do a lot of other stuff before I can feed him.
And when the battle's over, no matter whether it's win or lose, I expect him to still be hanging there.
Yes, sir. Without a doubt. All that getting slung off shit and stuff.
That's right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know it happens. There's times where if they don't get a good hold or they get a marginal hold, yes, they can get knocked off or get raked off on a tree or whatever. I ain't dealing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I
ain't doing with it.
I don't mind him get thrown off every once in a while, but I expect him to keep coming no matter what. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I expect him to give me all he's got. You know, because I mean he might not have a good grip. He might get thrown off, but if he gets cut in that process, I expect him to get up, come back. Mm-hmm. You know, not pass me on the way out. You know.
No, you can't have that. Well, my thing is, you know, like we talked to Lee Robinson, and he made a good analogy there. He said, you know, you have allowances. Don't make excuses, but you can make allowances. Like you said, okay, say you got a dog and you know he ain't the hardest mouth dog there is, but he loads. He's no problem in the box. You don't have to put a leash on him. He'll come when called. He'll stand right there until you send him. He ain't barking and acting crazy. So yeah, I would make an allowance to say, okay, I can deal with a little less mouth with a whole lot more handle. Or would you rather have a dog that's dragging you on a lead, trying to fight the other dogs, and then turn him, and now he'll catch and he ain't never coming off.
That's
what I'm getting at? It's like I can make some allowances on certain things, but that I can't deal with one dragging me and not mind it. I can't deal with that shit.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I don't mind the pulling me on the leash part. Now fighting, I can't put up with that. I ride my bulldog in the box with the rest of the dogs, you know.
That's right.
But I expect him to, no matter what, don't quit. Yes. You know, I mean that's what I expect. Thing. You know, because like I said, I hunt by myself a lot, and I was raised when you turn that bulldog loose, you know, your ass better be behind him. Yes. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't send him no long ways, but I expect him to. I had a good little bulldog, and knock on wood, I have been extremely lucky. All these years I've hunted, I think I've lost 3 dogs. Yeah, I have been really, really lucky. But I had a little bulldog. It's been 2 years ago. The last good one I owned. He, my little boy graduated from middle school, and I asked him what he wanted to do. He said he won't catch a hawk. I said, son, that's what we do every day. He said, I know, but that's what I want to do.
Hell yeah.
So we went and we turned loose, and I had two of them fuzzy dogs, and they went to baying. He said, "That's the one I'm looking for. If you hear both of them baying, you know he's a good one."
Mm-hmm.
And I set the little dog, man, and it hit him perfect, just right in his chest. And the hog throwed him, and the hog didn't run 10 feet. He stopped. But that little dog got up and smoked him again, And, man, it's hard. It's hard not to remember a dog that give you everything he had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them was the ones you'll remember forever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I made a post the other day about one old dog I had, bulldog, and like she would, man, it didn't matter. You could send every dog you had through there. If they didn't strike nothing, for whatever reason, I could turn her loose, and we're gonna rustle something up every time.
That's right.
And she gave me all she had every single time. And so, and that can also be a hindrance, I guess you'd say, in a lot of ways, because when you start out with dogs like that, well, that's your expectation out of all of them. And not all of them going to do that.
It does. It does.
But it keeps that level up. It keeps you at a higher standard, don't you think?
It does, yes, sir. I agree with that. Like I said, that old Shaggy dog, he set the bar pretty high, And I've been fortunate. A lot of people say you only get one. You'll have one in a lifetime. Mm. I don't find that to be true.
I don't either.
They might not be equal in all departments, but you will eventually own one that's gonna be better at something else. So whatever. I mean, but I'm glad I had him at such a young age. That way, I did set my bar high.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and like I said, I do not have the best in the world. I love them. I mean, I'll feed them till I die. But I'm not making out like they the best thing in the world. I mean, they produce hogs, and I like them.
Well, I mean, that's the main thing, and I've talked with a bunch of guys over the past few years, and a lot of them are very humble, like yourself. They're like, hey, mine ain't the best, but they work for me. And that's the thing. If it works for you in the area that you're in, man, that's what matters. That's what counts, because that's where you're hunting at. That's you. That's who you are. That's who your dogs are. That's what you need. Now, you get in position like we put, and I put myself in this position, stepping out into the public eye and like, okay, I'm going to do this and do that. So now I'm going to take my dogs and I'm going to travel and we're going to hunt these other places, blah, blah, blah. It takes a different type dog to do that.
It does. It takes a different dog, a different place.
Yes. Geographical location plays such a huge role in what dog you need. I mean, you could take a cold-nosed hound, a cold-nosed plot hound, and find a hog anywhere in the world. Anywhere.
Yes, sir.
But now, is he going to be able to run him and bay him and hold him until you get there? Well, if you got good roads and you got a road system and you can get around and he run it some bitch 4 miles and got him bayed up, yeah, you can drive there. No problem. If the road ends and he runs him another 4 miles and you don't have no way to get there and you got to go up and down mountains or hollers or swamp or marsh to get to him, is he going to heat stroke before you get there? That's what I'm getting at, is like, not every dog that's a hog dog where you live at is a hog dog everywhere.
That is a fact, man. Years ago when I had old Shaggy, I thought he walked on water, man. Back then hogs didn't really run that bad. It was different back then. And we took a little trip. It wasn't that far, maybe an hour and a half away. And man, it wasn't a ton of hogs up there. It was really about one big bull hog was coming in a field. Mm-hmm. And we put him on him, and he went and found him. I mean, just like he was supposed to. And he bayed for, I don't know, long enough for us to get to him. And when that hog heard that bull hog coming, he broke. I didn't think nothing about it. I thought he'd run right there, stop like the rest of them did back then.
Yeah.
3 hours later, he was still running him. You know, well that thing broke my heart, bro. That was the first time I'd ever been outrun. You know, but I wish it would have happened sooner because it motivated me to make them better. You know, now our hogs run bad. I mean, I'm sure everybody's run bad this day and time, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, most, especially a big hog, you know, them dogs, they gonna have to push him a pretty good ways before they catch him, you know.
And
now they don't.
That's changed a lot. Over the past few.
Yes.
10 years, you say?
Yeah, I'd say 10 years. It has changed tremendous. Yeah,
I thought it was just like where we were at, man, and I had to take some stuff back because like I blamed it on another guy because he ran real loose open hounds and they would walk bay hogs and all, and I'm sure that did educate him some, but man, it's like anywhere we go, these bitches will run.
Well, see, I thought, you know, I'll keep every night. I keep a hound. You know, because I always keep something that I can breed back to. Mm-hmm. And I'm very picky about what hound I breed to, you know. Man, I had a tree and walker jip years ago with top 3 best dogs I've ever seen in my life. She barked every breath, but she was just one of them dogs that would bay a hog 50 yards. And I don't care how bad a hog run, they would never run from her. Because she bayed so far back, you know. Mm-hmm. Now the bulldog might have had a little bit of trouble finding him when he got there, but you know, but a hog didn't run from him, you know. So, but I you know, I don't know. I begin with, I kind of thought, you know, because my dogs could be rough, and I kind of blamed it on my dogs. I was like, well, you know, they tried to catch him and making him break. Mm-hmm. You know, but that wasn't the case. I mean, all the ones that stood still, they dead, you know.
Yeah. And that's 100% because like when I first met Rodney, and I say when we first started hunting together all the time, we years and years ago, and I mean like probably 2008, 10, somewhere in there, we used to run GoPros on our dogs, and we would just try to get some good video with a bulldog hitting, and we always had the little terriers. So if there was always a mess, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, footage wasn't that great. Well, Rodney he's got a good collar set up and all this, and he had some GoPros, so we put them on the dogs. And I told him, I said, well, you know, I was like, man, I already done this, blah blah blah. And then I got to thinking. I got to watching a video, and one of the dogs was standing back baying. I think it was Sally. She was standing back baying, and she was pretty much videoing the other dogs for us. I said, that's what we need. Now we know what's happening. And this is no joke, man. As soon as they didn't even put pressure on the hog, that son of a bitch will run. Boom. Because I thought, like you said, they put too much pressure on him. They busting the bay. They breaking him. That was not the case. They just ran.
What helps me a lot, and it might not be the same for everybody else, but one dog at a time. Yes. Now it don't matter if these fuzzy dogs I got try to catch him, or if they standing back baying him, but one at a time. Them dogs will, even if that dog is catching him, one at a time, that hog will stand there and fight him.
Elek, listen. Yeah. Brother, you're saying some stuff right there that's going to get some shit started. You literally said...
I can't help it, man. That's what works
man,
for
you
me.
You're going to get it stirred up, dude, and then I'm going to have to... You know how many people going to call me and say, that dude's crazy as hell. One dog at a time. What kind of tomfoolery is going on?
That's how I hunt.
That's how you see what you feed.
Yeah. Well, I tell people all the time, and they think I'm bullshitting too, because it's like they talking about that white boy Rick dog. I was like, he ain't no hog dog. I just we talk him up a little bit, but and I put that the other day in the words of Will Booth. That son of a bitch has got to strike him, run him, stop him, and bay him right by himself.
That is a fact.
And if he can't do that, he's a helper.
That is exactly right.
And ain't nothing wrong with good help dogs. Ain't nothing wrong with them.
It is nothing wrong with it, man. But if he's gonna be in my hunting roster, he's got to do it by himself.
I love it.
I am not. I can't keep a dog that I got to put another dog with. And I'm not. I don't mean that bad towards
I know you ain't
anybody else.
I know, I'm buddy. I'm just giving you a hard time because there's gonna be people talking trash regardless. I got laughed.
But for me,
yes, and that's like you said. But for you, that's what really works, and it produces.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
You remember when we went to Mississippi first time over there, Nate, and I got out and I took Bacon out by herself. I got one Yog Terrier out, one of them little Jags out, and them guys looked and said, "What are you gonna do with that?" I said, "Well, that's our dog." They're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, that's our dog." They're like, "Ain't no way." I said, "Yeah, we was at the high fence over there."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "We're going to run this one by itself, and then we're going to swap them out." He said, "Y'all ain't fixing to catch no hogs in here." And it was a small high fence, and I mean, them hogs would run. We caught more hogs than anybody had ever caught there up until that point. And we did it with one dog that morning. And then now that evening, we swapped over. We put all of them out. We were just ransacking shit. But the way we got the hogs, the way we figured them out and the way we get them to stop is we ran one dog at a time.
Yes, sir.
Less pressure.
I find that they won't, like I said, they won't run near as bad from one dog. Even if that dog's swinging on his ear, a 60-pound shoulder stand there and fight back. I watch it all the time. Mine's gonna catch a smaller hog, and they're gonna try a bigger hog, even one at a time. But now I start my puppies. I have 2 or 3 of them out there together. But once they get started, they go by themselves.
So
and
how do you get them started? Go through that a little bit. Like how would you do a typical training scenario or get a pup started?
I put them in sign, man, where I know there's hogs gonna be. I try to set them up for success, if that makes sense. When I'm first starting them, I'll carry them somewhere. I'll bait some hogs up or whatever, and I'll just take a couple of them puppies and I'll kick them out. And not saying they're going to catch a hog first time. Sometimes them puppies will find one in the bed, they'll bait, they'll break and outrun them, or whatever. But I just keep feeding them tracks. That's and right. they'll be able to run him longer next time and longer the next time. Mm-hmm. They might be making an hour race, but still not putting a hog at the end of it, Mm-hmm. But I'll keep right on until they eventually start putting meat at the end of it, And knock on wood, I don't have a problem with them starting because they're gamey type dogs. So they kind of want to get something anyway. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, when they're puppies, a lot of them are tree, and I don't correct them for that. I mean, I just keep feeding them hog tracks and they'll quit that, Now, even some of my older dogs right now, if they run across a coon or possum in the woods, they're going to shake him real quick. But 9 times out of 10, you won't even know they caught him, because they're going to do it quick and get on down the road, I had a big hog coming in the field up down the road from my house and ended up catching him with that same full-blooded Airedale I was telling you about. He was a big bar hog. He broke the scale at 450. God. And, man, he was a tank. And I went. He wasn't coming regular. He'd come like once a week, so it was hard to pattern it. Well, it was pouring down rain one night, and I stopped by there, and I had to run into him. And I caught him with that Airedale and a bulldog. And but I went like a week prior to that, and I sent the old fuzzy dog down side the edge of the field, and I heard him growl. And a lot of times when you catch a hog, you hear him growl for a second, and then it went quiet. I got over there to him. And, man, he had a whole family of coons. He had 5 coons in a wad. And, within a 40-yard span there. I said, damn, Grizzly, you have killed the whole family.
Went crazy.
Get your ass on around that field, find a hog.
Yeah.
And he was just as happy as he could be. He took off,
That's right.
But they don't.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know.
I've seen them do it.
But once they get older, they eventually they'll quit with that.
Yeah.
Most of mine will start as little pups, 4 or 5 months old, they'll start treeing squirrels in the yard. I'll let them run loose as long as I can until they start tearing up the world, and then I'll put them up. But knock on wood, most of them start pretty easy,
Now on your Airedales, is this the same line of Airedales that
Yep.
same continuous line? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I know there's going to be people curious about that, because like you hear, and I've heard a lot of people talk about finding Airedales, and years ago, 15 plus years ago, it was hard to find Airedales just in general. Finding a good Airedale, I can't say that it was ever that hard. There was a couple of different lines that I had that they had a few things I didn't like. But every one of them would go work. Like there was the line that we actually wound up choosing. It was our second line. It was a bunch of show dogs. And I just put them to work. I said, well, I'm going to try them. And man, let me tell you, that's all they needed was exposure.
Now, I had the same thing happen. I had an old Jip years ago called Yoda, and man, she was bred out of show dogs, but I never had an issue with her. I mean, she went right to work. I mean, not saying all of them's gonna do it. I mean, I've had 2 that I can remember over the years that they didn't end up making it for me because they wasn't quite as rough as what I like. But I mean, they would stand back bay, but I kind of like a little rougher dog because like I said, I hunt one dog at a time. So I mean, I kind of want mine to be, rough.
You gotta get there and get hope.
Yeah. Well, you got to have something to help your bulldog.
You got to keep it from breaking and running. Like if it decides it does want to try to go, then it's got to stop it.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. They don't mind tearing the tail end up on one.
I bet, ain't no doubt. What size are those dogs that you're producing?
They about a 60-pound dog.
Okay, good size dog.
Yeah, they're good size dog. They're real long legged dogs. They're pretty quick on the feet.
That's what I was going to say. They usually, most anything with Airedales I've seen, the legs transfer over pretty good.
Yeah, believe it or not, man, them Julys I got, they pretty quick, and them Airedales outrun them 99% of the time.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know why, but they run with the head up, but they got enough hound in them that they got a pretty good nose on them.
Which Airedale has a good nose by itself.
They do.
But
with
that hound, I can only imagine.
Yep. Well, the Airedale come from the otter hound, right? It was an otter hound and a terrier cross. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
and
I'd like to find one of them, man. I've looked for years for them, but there's only a few left in the world.
Get a hold of them, man. Listen, there was a point in time where that's where we did. Same thing. It was like, well, I'm going to try. We're going to see. Let's see what we can do. And had one of the guys that was in our group, and like he was very well, he's pretty well off, and he could get his hands on anything, but we just never could make it happen,
Yes, sir.
And I'm too poor. I'm broke.
I know the feeling, homie.
Like I'm talking about, shit. I'm finna look here. In the morning, I'm finna haul off some scrap metal, boys. I'm telling y'all for real. Y'all don't know about what's happening in the South. We've been in the winter time, boys. We don't have winter time. And I work construction. Shit. No, let me tell you.
But
I got to go haul.
I made a career change 2 years ago and started training bird dogs for a living.
Really?
So you know I'm broke.
Well, you said for a living, not for dying. So I mean, it's close.
I'm not big on bird dogs.
Yeah.
I don't. But I hunt for a plantation, and I hunt a lot of places, but one of them's a plantation, and he's watched me for years with them Airedales, and they ride on the truck and this, that, and the other. I talk to. I don't put a dog on a leash. That is a no for me. I'm not walking a dog on a leash. Nothing against nobody does. I'm just not going to do that. And he offered me a job, and I was like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know nothing about a bird dog. He said, well, if you could train them, you could train a bird dog. And I actually started liking it, man. It's actually a pretty cool gig. I mean, I get to hunt every day now,
That's good, man. That's good. That's what I think that's what everybody that runs dogs, that's their dream, is like, man, I want to do this every day. But
that's right.
But at the same time, it's a job.
It is.
I mean, it really is. There's times where, and Nate and I were talking about this earlier, like we went out on a limb, and we've tried to do this more for a living. We still do construction, when we got a job comes up or whatever, but I'm not out beating the bushes like I used to, trying to make sure the books are full with all these different construction jobs. So now we kind of fill in where if we have a little slack time in the hunting side of things. Well, I mean, you can put it to where you never have slack time in it, but you can't, it's like, even if I don't make a lot of money doing it, I'm happy. I mean, I enjoy it. It doesn't matter. It's just something that I really enjoy. And if you start putting that money aspect in it, sometimes it can get to where it's not enjoyable. If you're counting the dollar side of it.
It is, man. I used to work 12 hours, and my daddy raised me, if you gonna have a dog, you need to hunt him 4 or 5 times a week, and you work 12 hours, you come home, you hunt 4 or 5 hours a night, you go back to work the next morning,
You ain't got no time.
And yeah, you just, I mean, that's, you spending your whole life doing that,
Mm-hmm.
but, and I'm famous for during the summertime, I like to get up early. And I like to go before work. Your coolest time's going to be from 3 o'clock in the morning till 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be your coolest time. First dark, it's still going to be pretty hot. And it seems to be, them hogs is out feeding early in the morning times too. So, I like to get up and go hunting and then go to work or whatever. I'll hunt anytime. It don't matter to me. You say something about hunting, I'll go.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And you say you got two boys?
Yes, sir. I got 2 boys. The baby boy, I didn't think it was possible, but I believe he actually hunts more than I do.
Wow.
If it makes a track, that youngin, he's got a squirrel dog, and he's got a phenomenal little squirrel dog. I told him he hunts the hide off of her. And he's got a coon dog, so he's squirrel hunting, eating, he coon hunting at night, and then he hog hunts with me in between when his schedule will work out with mine. He stays busy. And when deer season comes in, that youngin, he gets up, man, he deer hunts before school and after school. He's eat up with it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But he's 15 years old. He's never played a video game. So as long as he wants to do it, I'm going to let him do it.
Hell yes.
For sure.
Yes, sir. Ain't no doubt. I told my youngest boy the other day, I've got 3 sons, and I told him, I don't remember. Oh, he got him a Toyota 4Runner, and I told him when he went and did some trading for it, I told him, I said, well, now listen, I said, those things are notorious for the throttle position sensor and the MAF sensor and, the O2 sensor. I said, you make sure you check them. Well, he called me. He said, hey, I got to come get my other little truck. My throttle position sensor went out. He was going through changing it and all this and asking all these questions. I said, see, if you wasn't in there playing that video game all the time and you was outside the shop with me, you would know this. You know what that peckerhead said? He said, yeah, Dad. Listen. He said, but I can play video games really good. I said, you little smart ass. I took it. It was to that point where, like, he loves to hunt. he's the same way. But now he did play video games a good bit. But when that son gun, he got, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years ago, he got into deer hunting. I guess he's about 14, 15.
Yeah.
And that son gun, I'm talking about, we had to tell him, said, hey, there is a limit. You can't just do this. Because he called me, he's like, hey, I got this. And then a little while later, hey, I was like, whoa, now, you got to calm down. You know, I'd rather him do that than like you said, than be laid up playing video games.
Yeah, nothing against the kids to do, you know. I mean, it is what it is. But as long as he stays outdoors, man, I try to keep him busy doing something, you know.
That's right.
He loves to hog hunt too, but you know, he's always doing something, you know. Even when he was a little boy, he'd be out there crawfishing in the ditch or something, you know.
Yeah.
Doing something he ain't got no business.
Now, where y'all live at in South Carolina, are y'all closer to the marsh?
Yeah, I'm about
or to the coast, I guess.
I'm about 35 minutes from the coast.
Okay, I got you.
Yep.
Now, do y'all have to work? Now, I had some buddies of mine that had to deal with that. What was that? The blue algae stuff. Mm-hmm. Have you had to deal with any of that?
No, sir. I've never had a problem with that.
Blue-green algae.
Yeah, blue-green algae poisoning.
It poisoned the dogs. They got it out of the water, like out of stagnant water or something. And
no, sir.
I didn't know if you're familiar with it or not.
Oh God, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's not called blue-green now. It's lepto. I think it's lepto. Yeah, mainly in stagnant water, beaver ponds and stuff.
Yeah.
We had a bad flood. They called it 1,000-year flood, man. Only time in my life I've ever seen the river go backwards. Damn. And I mean, it flooded everything. And that was the first time I ever saw it. I lost the best coon dog I ever owned in my life. He got real sick and I didn't know what was wrong with him, and I carried him to the vet. But I started vaccinating all my dogs for it. And one of them Julys I was telling you about earlier, he had been vaccinated for it twice. And I lost him 4 months ago to it.
So what vaccination are you using? Is there an over-the-counter, or do you got to go to the vet?
No, I get it from the vet. I get all my 8-in-1 shots. Well, I use I think it's 10-way now because it's got lepto and something else in it. But I get all mine from the vet. I bought some over-the-counter shots one time, and I don't know if they were left out or what, but I got a bad batch of them, and I lost some pups. So I just, from then on, I've always just went to the vet and got them. Yeah. Not saying that's the case. I mean, it could have been a freak accident. You know what I mean? But
that could be the case as well, though, Alec, because I've had people over the years, and like I get a pup from them or something, and then bring it here, and man, a week or two later, you know, like pup, or maybe not even a week or two later, a few days later, you know, I'm like, hey, this pup acts like it's sick, and then next thing you know, and they're like, well, it had to get it from your place. I'm like, there's 50 dogs here, ain't nobody sick.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and we done raised all these puppies and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, they're like, well, we vaccinated it. Well, you know, if you stopped at Tractor Supply and got your shot, and then you dicked around for 2 or 3 hours, and you just had it in the sack laying on the dash in the sun, you know, it might not have took a hold like it's supposed to. And it could have just been a bad batch. There's so many variables that come into that. Like you said, you know, I guess ultimately, even at the vet's office, I'm sure it could still happen, you know, just freak accident.
Yeah, shipping and all, you don't never know, you know. But I get mine from there, you know. I feel better about it, I guess you'd say, you know.
Hey, if that's
it's a lot of work raising puppies, man. I'm sure y'all know that, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
it's a full-time job.
I am strictly against breeding, and Nathan wants to breed dogs all the time.
Oh yeah, totally.
I tell you, I went through I was like that, man, years ago.
I love puppies. Nathan hates them.
Years ago, I was, you know, I didn't hardly ever raise puppies. And, man, I went through a batch there, and I lost pretty well about everything I had, just a short time frame. And then I went crazy and bred everything, and then I had too many. But now I try to raise a litter, once every year and a half or so, or 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna raise a couple litters here because what I got's getting older, so I'm gonna raise some to replace them, and I got to raise another litter of full Airedales so I have something to cross back to later down the road. So
it's a big process, brother, and I fully 110% understand that. People used to ask me all the time, they're like, why you got 75, 80 dogs? I said, well, because I've got a project that I'm doing. Then, and I had other dogs as well. But like you said, if you're doing basically a hybrid, you got to have at least 2 to do a hybrid. In my case, we had 3, and I always had to have something to breed to that was coming up, and I always had a litter that I was evaluating or working and hunting, and then I had the old dogs. It's a never-ending process, and you do that if you just got one of each. Well, there's 9 or 10 dogs right off the top.
That's right.
And then it's a lot of work.
The cross I got that I've been line breeding, I'm not no dog biologist and genetics, but I breed tight, but I don't want to do it 3-4 generations in a row,
Yeah.
So then I got to make, I got to cross out one side or the other, and then I'll take it back to what I was breeding, but and it's time now that I need to cross out, so
I understand. There's somebody messaged us earlier and asked about some line breeding. And we've covered it in a few past episodes, just here and there. But if you don't care, kind of run down like how you do yours. And if you want to, you can use your dog's names, so that way you can keep up with it. Tell us how you've done it.
I like to breed a niece to uncle, or nephew to aunt, or granddaddy to granddaughter. I try to leave one generation out of it. But I've never done it before, but since I been in the bind looking for bulldogs, I always run a Burns dog is what I used for years. Was they're basically pure yellow dogs. Well, a little bit of red boy in them. Yeah. And I didn't raise none and it run out. Well, all the people I knew that had them, they don't mess with them no more. Well, I found some Walkmore bred dogs, which is basically the same thing.
Oh yeah.
And I bought a pair of them, and I made sure they would catch. And I've never done it. I don't know. I've seen a lot of bulldog people do it, but I actually tried a brother sister breed. Now, thank God they all come out with the amount of toes they're supposed to have and didn't have no extra ears or nothing, But
I've heard that for 40-something years, and I have never seen it.
Well,
I've never seen a bad one.
I've never bred
as far as physical stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never.
Go ahead.
Hey, have you ever bred that type before?
Yes.
I mean, how'd you like it?
That's on like every 3 to 4 generations. We always did it, and we made sure belly mate, brother and sister. That was called a check. So we checked our blood.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you don't do that shit all the time.
That's right.
You don't
that's right.
And I'm going to tell you, the absolute best that we've ever had come out of those breedings. There have been a couple of times where we're talking strictly American Pit Bull Terriers, and we're talking strictly 20 plus 30 years ago or longer. Some of these dogs were evaluated for other reasons, and some of them were they would be overstimulated. Let's say it like that. Like you couldn't,
Yes.
They couldn't be around other dogs. Like they were hot, real hot.
Yes.
That was one of the biggest issues. Like, I mean, but at the same time, it wasn't an issue back then.
Yeah. I got what you're saying.
Yeah. They were real quick with their mouth. Like they might bite your hand. You know, if you move your hand too quick, get down there close to them on the collar or something like that, they might turn around and nip you. They were just so high strung. All right. So what we always did is just like you were talking about, pretty much a niece to an uncle, and then, you know, a nephew to an aunt, whatever, whichever ones we liked best out of the litter, depending on what I wanted the most of. You know, I always look at the female. And most of the guys that I know that bred the bulldogs up, they put a lot on the female.
To me, that is me. I look at the female very hard.
Yes.
I will. I'm very, very picky about what female I breed to. Not saying it's right, not a right or wrong, but that's how I breed. My daddy always told me you can breed a good bitch to a Chihuahua and she'll throw good puppies. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's just how I do it, you know.
Oh, without a doubt. We were trying to get some size up in the high terriers that we were breeding. And so everything that we did, if we did a Jag and Bull Terrier cross, those are two little shorter statured dogs. So I crossed them into a female Airedale. And after we worked that around a couple of times, they all were a little taller. And people were asking me, they were like, well, how are you getting your dogs that big? I'm like, well, I just used the Airedale, the female. And they're like, yeah, but like, and I'm talking about like most of these guys that I'm discussing this with are from Germany or Lithuania or Czechoslovakia.
Yes.
But they put everything on the male. And I'm like, man, I don't do that, you know? And sure enough, we've got dogs right now that were imported from those same places, and they're struggling to get 50 pounders. 50 was our average. That was actually small. We were getting 55 to 65s. You know, and all it was is we used we didn't do anything any different except we used a female Airedale. I said, if she's bigger, you're going to get more of your stuff from your female. No, you can't. I was like, well, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I want to stay wrong.
That's right.
I'm going to stay wrong on it.
Hey, if it works, man, roll with it, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I roll. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, that's the way I try to breed them, you know. But like I said, every now and then, you know, I got to make a cross to cross back, and I don't have to do it all often. But when I do, you know, like I said, I try to find the bitch that really suits me. You know, most of the time I've done it both ways, and I don't see where it makes a difference. I've used a hound bitch or hound male, you know, vice versa. And I don't really see where that part makes a difference, but I do, I'm real cautious on the hound side. I want it to be exactly what I want, you know.
Yeah. So I don't want those. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. It's got to be what you want.
That's right. Yes.
And I understand that part, like you said, and I see where you're going with that, because like with a hound and an Airedale, they're both bigger type dogs, you know. We were putting together a small dog with a big dog and trying to get something bigger, you know, as big.
Yes.
And
yes.
That's the only thing that I found that's the only reason that I could figure that it worked.
Yes, sir.
But now on the coats that we done a breeding last year. Nathan's got a Catahoula named Eminem, and he's a thin-skinned dog. I mean, thin-skinned. And none of the puppies, we had one of them come out kind of merle twigs, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And he's a merle colored dog, you know, but all the rest of them come out more solid. There was one or two that had a little bit of color to them, but all of them had that thin coat. And like the mama's got a pretty good coat on her, pretty good thick, heavy coat. She's a black-mouthed cur. I was just curious if you noticed if the coat carried over more from the female side or more from a male side, or have you paid attention to that?
No, sir. I mean, pretty well all mine come with the same coat. You know, it's not as thick. They're not as wiry haired as the Airedale, and it's not. You know, Airedale's got two coats of hair.
Yes.
You know, they got the inner hair, and then they got that. But they'll come with it, but it'll be just a kind of shaggy, long hair on them. You know.
Yeah.
But all of mine. Everyone I've ever raised has come with a. Now I tell a lie. The July cross, their hair didn't come quite as thick as the English cross does.
Okay.
I don't know why, but they had just a little bit thinner hair on them. But
okay.
But all the rest of them, you know, for years has always come the same way.
Gotcha.
You know, that's why everybody thinks they labradoodles and poodles and yeah, it used to make me mad. You know, you somewhere somebody said, "Well, are those labradoodles?" You know, but now, you know, I just laugh it off. You know, because a lot of people don't even know what an Airedale is. You know.
Oh, I fully understand. We have been in some weird situations with people, and like I mean, like we were at the terrier trials, and people were like, "Well, that's a good looking Airedale," and I'm like, "It's not an Airedale. He might be half Airedale, but like it don't even look like an Airedale." You know?
That's right.
They're like, "Oh, I've seen Airedales look just like that. That dog is almost solid black with just a little bit of tan. Has a medium coat on him. He's shorter. He's not as tall. I mean, he looks like a smaller version of a Airedale cross to me, you know." And it's like, dude. But I've had people mistake some of the young terriers that we've had for Airedales. Yeah. They're like, "Is that an Airedale?" I'm like, "No." You know, it's Airedales they have a very distinct look.
They do. They got that. Y'all have had dealings with them. I guess you could say I'm a picky type fella. Mm-hmm. I cannot stand for a dog to chew a hog up. Mm. If you go chew him up, he's gonna die. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Especially you get a dog that's chewing on a leg or behind a shoulder. And I have noticed with the Airedale, I don't know if it's because the longer muzzle on them, but they do a lot more damage than a normal muzzle type dog.
They do.
I mean, they'll cut. I mean, it'll cut like and rip the hide. Yes. Yeah, it's like a knife. Yeah.
Peter, what's his last name? Cambyses?
Yeah.
From Pennsylvania. He has a big old Airedale named Rip, and he brought him down, and we caught a hog. And now this dog's been a pet, been in the house, which he works him like on coon and stuff like that, you know. He never seen hogs. That son of a gun went straight to work. The hog was running away, and of course another dog was up on its head. Well, he caught him back toward the ham, and it looked like somebody took that K-bar and just sliced it open. And one of the other boys said, "Damn, look at that right there! It's then got cut." I said, "That dog bit it." And I actually had it on video. He said, "No, that dog didn't bite the My dog was over there." I said, "No, that dog bit it. I was sitting there watching him." He's like, "I've never seen nothing like that." I said, "No, that's at them Airedales." I said, "They got the longest teeth of any canine other than a wolf."
They do. I don't know, but they years ago we used to. Well, before they changed the laws, when we caught all the hogs alive, you know, mm-hmm. and I had some guys come hunt with me one time from Georgia, and they thought I was an idiot. I I broke my dogs off of pigs.
Mhm.
I cannot stand a pig killing dog. That just, it cringes me, you know. I mean, if you could be over here smashing pigs, you could go over there and find a big hog somewhere, you know. And the boys, and I probably am crazy, you know. They thought I was crazy, but that was why, because I mean, they catch them smaller hogs. They done so much damage to them.
And they're wasting time.
Yeah, and
I ain't being mean. That's the way I look at it. Like, y'all just wasting time. Get on and do something.
Yeah, we not, you know, going over there and find your bull hog somewhere, chew on him, you know, something to fight back.
Mm-hmm. Me and Rodney, we'll argue about that. Rodney,
I don't mind it when they crunch them and move on.
Yeah, if they just
exactly.
Yeah, I don't like when they're like just sitting there like buffeting it up. Well, and they're eating this 5-pound pig for 30 minutes.
That's right.
Like you said, if you got one that's like 50 or 60 pounds, like a lot of people say, oh, well, that pig was about 60 pounds. Pull that 60 pounder out and weigh him. He'll be about 25.
That's right.
All right. So when you get a 60, 75 pound pig, which is turning into a small hog, and you got a dog that weighs the same as that pig does, not a lot of dogs can kill that damn pig real quick.
Not
solo. Yeah. Airedales can. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I've seen it when you come in there and it's like, I'm not sure how the pig's live.
Yeah. Dude,
it's going to
when
die.
They're young. When they're young, some of them crosses we had, Elek, it would be like, we got to get there now. Get there fast. And 150 pound hog, well, hell, they done got part of his ham out, his guts rolled out, and he's dead. And you're like, well, shit. Well, they done rolled out, went to another one. Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, they do so much damage. Look,
especially when you got 3 or 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
You catch a grizzly bear like that.
Yeah, you can't mess around with that junk. They're crazy like that. It's a damn mess.
I've seen a bunch of messes from it.
have y'all ever tried? I've been saying for 20 years I was gonna do it, but I hadn't done it yet. Have y'all ever tried to cross one with a game dog and use it for a catch dog?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you like it? I mean,
it didn't add anything that I seen. If you like a running catch dog, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was fine. But as far as like just for a good catch dog, you know what I'm saying? That goes to preference, because like them Airedales, if you get one that's hot and he wants to grab a hold, you got to run a brake stick on him and get him off. I mean, that's something gonna get a hold of it. And when you cross him with a bulldog like that, you can create a damn monster. I mean, I'll just be honest with you, but I know some boys that used to run them just for running catch dogs, but now they crossed them to some of the Camelot dogs, which was a bigger style red nose, still real gamey. I mean, they gamey as hell. And they were hammers. I mean, hammers. But they be good.
I've always had a issue, man. You know, like I said earlier, if I'm real picky about a bulldog, you know, I mean, he's, you know, there ain't but one way to see if he's game, you know, and
that's right.
But I expect him to be there, you know what I mean? So I've never really tried it because I've never really wanted to take nothing away from the bulldog, but I've often thought about, you know, what would happen, you know.
Well, it's been a long time to find a good bulldog.
I mean, my Airedales now, they pretty well, I mean, I have to, that's why I don't post videos and stuff. I mean, most of the time I got to holler at mine, I tone him or something to get him to turn him damn loose long enough so I can get a little 2-second video. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I got to holler at him and make you turn him loose while I get a little video, and then, you know, so, but I don't know. I've always thought about that, and then I always thought that it's going to be way too much and not on one side and not enough on the other side, you know?
Yeah, it could go either way. And the reason I say that is, like, we crossed, okay, you know, the Jags and the Patterdales. All right. We've crossed the Patterdales with game stock, and we've crossed the Jags with game stock. We've crossed several different bird dogs with game dogs. English pointer and game dog is a phenomenal thing. But the Draught crossed with a game dog is absolutely outstanding.
I've heard that.
I've got one here, and I've had them for years, and I'm telling you, I don't like Draughts at all. To me, they don't fit what I do. They're great dogs for other people, and they do great at certain things. But I have yet to find one that was a solid hog dog for me.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I ain't talking about nobody else. I'm talking about just for me. But I have also yet to find one once I crossed it that wasn't great. Every one that we crossed, dude, every F1 cross turned out to be a damn dog. Every time. And been doing it for, I don't know, we got kicked out of the Draught Society about 15 years ago. So ever since then, they don't like it when you cross your game dogs in there.
What's the are them Draughts? Are they bred different than the wired hair pointer?
Yeah, they're different. They're a whole different breed. Everybody says they're the same thing, but that's a whole nother deal you got to get into with that.
It's a whole different thing. I got you.
You know what I mean? Because if I sit here and say, yeah, they're the same thing, I'll be honest. I've had both, and they're not.
I got you.
I think there lies a lot of the issue is they are very similar, and so they can be passed off as a Draught. And I think a lot of them do get passed off as a Draught. You know, and from people who don't know the difference, well, they're going to go spend $2,500 on a puppy or a pair of pups or a breeding pair or whatever, and then they're going to start breeding them. You can hang papers on anything. It's not even hard.
Yeah,
you know, people. A lot of people rely on those papers, and unless you know that guy or girl or woman or whatever that's breeding them, and have known them for years and know them dogs, man, them things can be doctored up pretty daggum easy.
Yeah, sir.
I've seen it.
I've thought about for years, and I probably need to do it. I've thought about single line registering these dogs, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't. I don't let very, very few people get them. And I don't mean that in a bad way to anybody.
You work too hard to do this.
Well, when I first started, I let some people get them. Then, they want to sell them and this, that, and the other. And, I just,
what you've done for me.
So I said, no. So, I'll give them to people that I know is going to hunt them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't ever go no further than that with them. Most of them stay here,
Well, and that's, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And there's also the side of me that's like, hey, I tried something, I'm like, okay, I'll let one or two of mine go. And I have this past year or two, we've let several dogs go. Yep. First ones we've let get out in a long, many, many years. And I was just taking a gamble. And sure enough, one of them got dumped out somewhere. And here's the thing. It was a little puppy. It wasn't like, okay, well, this dog wasn't worth the shit. No, they didn't even give it a chance.
Yeah.
And that was the pick of the litter that I wanted to keep. And I was like, I'll give it to a young guy. And I was like, here you go. Here's you something to start out with, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, that's the first one to shit on you.
So
if
I find a kid that I know that's really into it and really wants to hunt, or somebody that I know hunts hard, I'll let them get one. But I'm kind of picky, about. Maybe I shouldn't be that way, but I'm kind of picky about where to go.
Well, I understand. That was the situation with this one. Like, we knew this kid, and he hunts all the time. He hunted with a group of guys that we hunt with, and if it hadn't been for those guys, I wouldn't. One of them spoke up for him, and was like, look, man, if something happens and he can't do justice by it, he said, we'll step in and we'll take it, blah, blah, blah. And it was more that boy's daddy. But at the same time, all he had to do was call me and say, hey, Mr. Joey, I can't keep the dog. And that's what really, really bothered me. And I still ain't said his name to nobody. I ain't going to. I ain't going to do that. He's young. He made a mistake. He'll learn.
Well, that's the only thing I ask. If it's 5 years down the road from now and you say you don't like him, I give him to you, he's yours.
Yep.
But at least offer him back to me. Mm-hmm. But that's about the only thing, but everybody's different, but that's just how I like to do it.
Yeah.
Not saying it's right. That's just how I like to do it.
Everybody has their own deal. A lot of times if I give somebody a dog, I'm like, okay, like you said, if I give it to you, hey, here's your dog. But if I place it with you and say, look, I want you to take this dog and hunt it, blah, 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 do all this. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because you've asked me for dogs several times and tried to buy one or whatever. And I'm going to say, well, this one doesn't cost you any money, but you got to raise it. You got to hunt it. And I'm going to breed back to it later on. And if you find something you want to breed to it, call me and we'll discuss it. That's right. Kind of my stipulations. And if you don't sell the damn thing, call and offer it to me. Or let me know, say, hey, it ain't working out, or I got to move, or my wife said no, whatever. Don't breed it to something else and then sell puppies off of my name.
Or give it to somebody and then you find it on baydog.com next week for $3,000.
Yeah, or have somebody in another state call you and say, hey, man, I got this dog with your number on his collar.
I've had that happen.
That's what Smooth like. Give me my collars back, please.
Yeah. I said, man, I don't think I was out of town. I was like, I don't think I got any dogs out. He said, what's got your collar on it? I said, well, and I was like, I don't think it's mine, but I'll be home tomorrow. I'll check it out. Yeah, it wasn't mine. I just had my collar on it.
Yeah, and that's weird, man. People will find your collars and stuff and put them on their dogs. That's crazy to me.
It is.
They'll get in the bind, a collar break or something, I imagine, or they just grab it, not paying attention. And then you just kind of forget once you got a collar on the dog.
That ain't no big deal.
I've seen it happen.
Yes, it's happened to us a few times.
I'm not a fan.
But no, as far as like with if you do the Airedale Bulldog cross, let me know.
I've thought about it. I don't know if I'm ever gonna pull that trigger. I mean, because like I said, my dogs are rough, but at the same time, I can't stand for a hog to be chewed up. So I don't mind getting on one, for doing that. Now, if you go in there and you catch a bull hog, that's fine. If you're going to catch something that's man enough to fight you back, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to put up with you, if you're going to kill a pig, kill him and get on that road. I ain't got time to be, wasting around here. Mm-hmm. That's just me.
That's right.
But if I ever tried, I'll definitely let you know. And they, like I said, I'm gonna make a cross. Well, not a cross. I'm gonna breed it out full G up here soon, and I'll probably send one of y'all's way.
All right. Well, let us know, man. Let us know. I have the hardest time in the world turning down small, little, warm, cute, fuzzy things.
Well. That's what I tell people. I tell people, if nothing else, man, your wife or girlfriend will like it. They're kind of cute.
That's right. Well, man, hey, listen, Alec, listen, man, we appreciate you, like I said, stepping out of your comfort zone, taking time and talking with us.
Oh, for sure.
It's been a good conversation, talking about the dogs and the way everything goes. I think you did as good a job as anybody, especially for somebody who don't do this. You did great, man.
Yeah, I've always been a kind of state of myself type fella, I don't, like I said, I'll post enough pictures to let people know I'm still hunting, Yeah. Because you always got somebody want to get your spot, So I'll post just enough to let you know that I'm still doing it. But other than that, I kind of stay to myself. But
that's right.
Y'all fellas load them old dogs up and come down and hunt with us sometime, man.
we have got to cross that South Carolina line. And it's kind of like the whole, excuse me, like the whole deal with Texas out there. I get invited a good bit, you know, and I want to hunt with everybody, but I can't, you know, so I got to kind of pick and choose, man. Look, we fool around across that Texas state line. Them some bitch be calling me, you sorry son bitch, you said you was coming up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, man, calm down. I'll be there as soon as I can get there. But no, we want to hunt South Carolina. I do. Big time.
Well, you're more than welcome anytime, bud. Got a place to put you up. Like I said, I hunt I hunt a lot. So I mean I'm going anyway. You might as well come go with me, you know.
Sounds good. We'll bring some fuzzy dogs.
I did get to hunt South Texas a couple weeks ago. My first trip down there. We went down there bird hunting, so I didn't get to take no fuzzy dogs, but I hopefully here soon I'm gonna make a trip back and I'm gonna carry them. But I got to hunt with some fine yellow dogs up there, man. That dude had the real deal. I mean, they was some nice dogs.
Hell yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Well, that's good, man. Look, like I said, stepping out and getting to go to new places, man, you can learn a lot of stuff. There's times where I've learned stuff and I'm like, damn, man, I need to go home and get to work. Then there's times where I kind of puff my chest out. I'm like, hell, I ain't doing so bad, you know.
Well, see, I you know, a lot of people want to have the best dog everywhere they go. I'm totally different. I want to hunt with dogs better than mine.
Yes.
Because that motivates me to get better.
Yes, sir.
I mean, even back when we used to run fox dogs, we didn't run with dogs we could run with. Mm-hmm. We went and run with somebody that had faster dogs. That, you know, that's your motivation. You know, that's what works for me. You know?
That's a good thing to say too, especially for a lot of guys who are just starting to hunt, younger guys, younger generation, guys and girls out there. If you've got a good dog, go with somebody who you know has a better dog. That's a good thing. And see where you sit along the lines with them, because hey, you might show up and your dog might be better than theirs. You don't ever know.
Your dog won't never get better hunting him with a dog in his class. When you put him with a dog that's in another class, that's good. If he's a good dog, that's gonna motivate him to change.
It sure will. You know? It sure will.
Yeah.
Well, man, like I said, we appreciate you, and we're gonna take you up on that hunt. And just as soon as we can get our asses out that way, we'll give you a holler.
Well, just shoot me a text, and I appreciate it, fellas.
All right, Alec. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All right. So y'all have a good one.
All right, you too, buddy. See you. See if I can figure this thing on out. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. There's another one in the books, y'all. 2026, pounding. We roll and we keep going. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
You know what I'm talking about. Go to Pound Town with her, boys. Listen, y'all get up. We got Nathan put a YouTube video up.
Yeah, I did something this year.
Yep, he got a YouTube video.
I put up a YouTube video this year.
I've been posting pretty regular. And we do have a video podcast on the Patreon account.
Yes, we do.
So the podcast that we're doing, not every one of them, but we will have some that are and they're exclusive for right now to the Patreon account. So go look up the Dixie Doggers Patreon, join up on that. All you got to do is go through there and click that link. It'll take you to the host, and bam, you can watch the video. Not just that, it shows a little more in-depth look of you know, what we do, who we are, some of our family stuff, and you know, of course, I mean, you know how shy I am. You know, I don't hardly say nothing and all that shit. Yeah, whatever. All right. So anyway, go over there and do that right now. I'm not playing. Do it. Please do it. Just do it. That's really one of the, if you guys and girls out there want to support us, that is the one way that's guaranteed to support us 100%.
For sure.
We appreciate all our people that have supported us. I say this every episode, and I'm going to keep saying it. Thank y'all. We love y'all. Y'all keep listening. We'll keep talking. And deer season's over with this week, motherfucker. Like, it's on.
It's next week, but yeah.
This coming week.
I'm just fucking with you.
No, we're going this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
February the 6th, ain't it?
D. Braxton Sultans.
We're going to Braxton Sultans.
Professional hog
LGBTQYN, my boy. We going down there with him and his boyfriend Kevin, and we is fixing to tear up some damn hogs. I ain't prejudiced about shit but catching pork. That's all I want to catch. I don't want to deal with nothing else unless dogs run it and we're going to catch it. But I ain't going to tell nobody. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all on the next one. Love y'all. We out.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that episode. If there's anything or anyone you'd like to hear on the podcast, or if you'd like to come hunt with us, don't hesitate to contact us at dixiedoggers01@gmail.com.